What's going on, Gifted Hands family? It is Elijah here bringing you another lesson, and today we're talking about gospel piano harmony and theory applied to hymns, all right? So we're gonna walk through seven different levels, seven different ways that you can approach hymns as a gospel musician, ranging from a beginner, level 1, all the way up to like a virtuoso approach, all right? So pretty much what we're working on is getting our playing from this from something like that, which is just bare bones, bare minimum, to this. All right, to a more advanced approach with all the passing chords, the movements, the embellishments, the fills, all that good stuff. All right, so let's dive into it with level 1. So the level 1 approach as a gospel musician to hymns is just going to be like a traditional, pretty much like you're playing the song straight out the hymnal, okay? So for this, you can learn it by ear, or you can, even if you read, just open your hymnal book and find a song. So for this lesson, we're gonna be using Old Rugged Cross as our song example. So it goes like this. This is gonna be our level 1 approach. So at level 1, we're pretty much just playing the chords, the basic chords that are given for the song, really like barely inverting them, playing them in root position, just bare bones, all right? So for this song, we're just starting on the 1. Going to the 4. Going to the 5. And then staying on the 1. And going to the 4, to the 5. When we get to the 5, we can make it dominant. And then if we play the chorus, so I'll cherish 5 to the 1. We can make the 1 dominant. 1, 1 to the 1 dominant to the 4. And then you might do like a 1/5 and exchange it someday for a crown. 4/1 to the 1. All right. So with level 1, all we're focusing on is getting the basic chords to be able to play through each section of the song. So this includes like learning your song form, knowing like what the intro is, if there's an intro, learning your verses, learning your choruses, if there's like some type of bridge section, learning the different sections of the song, just with the chords that are provided, all right? So that's level 1. We're not gonna spend too much time there. Let's go to level 2. So level 2 is going to be adding the melody line. Now, granted, this is something you could do at level 1, but it's not something that you're going to actually attempt to play. But I think it's always good to learn the melody line to every single song that you're going to play, especially when it comes to hymns. So for the Old Rugged Cross, the melody line goes like this. All right, I'll sing it. All right, that's the verse, and then the chorus, or the refrain. Right? So you want to learn the melody line at level 2, and then this is where you can really start trying to play the melody along with the chords, or even just voicing the chords, the basic chords that we already learned, in a way to where the melody line is on top and it stands out. So that would sound like this. Throwing in one more chord, the 5, just like a turnaround chord. All right, so that's the first half of the song. But yeah, so that's level 2, where we're adding the melody line into the basic chords that we're given, and we're starting to kind of change the voicing so that the melody line is voiced at the top of our chords. All right, let's dive into level 3. All right, so for level 3, what we're gonna do now is start adding some embellishments, just meaning we're gonna add some extensions to the chords and play some chords that sound more full. We're not adding any extra chords. We're not gonna add any really passing chords, any movements, anything like that. At this point, we're just gonna take the chords that are given and add some more notes to it, all right? So that'll sound like this. Maybe we're starting on the 1, right? We're playing the melody line still, and then we're gonna look at how we can add notes or extensions to the chords to make them sound more full. So for the 1 chord, instead of playing a basic triad, we can play like this is well, we could really start with like a major 7. We're in the key of D flat, so this is the 1 chord, right? We can play a major 7, or we can play something like this, like a major 13 chord, okay? Then I might even go here. We're staying on the 1, right? But something we could do with our embellishments is, instead of making it major, going from major to dominant, because this passes to the 4, all right? That's like a type of embellishment. 4, and then instead of playing the basic triad, we're gonna play the major 7th, or even like a fuller chord voicing. And all that's on the 4. I'm getting this because I'm thinking about the melody line, right? And I'm playing a major 7th chord, but when I add that melody note, it gives me like a 13 voicing. Dominant to the 4. Going to the 5. And then on the 5. Actually, you'll see something that I'm doing is arpeggiating my left hand. So throughout this approach, this level 3 approach, something that you can do with your left hand to add more fullness, along with the extensions that you're adding in your right hand, is outlining the chord tone. So on the 1, 1, 5, 1, 5, 3. That's what I did on the 1 chord. 1, 5, 3 for the left, right? Or I can even do 1, 5, and then landing on like the 3 and the 5, the chord tones. And that's just giving the chord more color. That sounds better than just playing the root note, right? And it adds movement to your playing. I like to call it like orchestrating. It sounds like there's multiple instruments playing at the same time, or multiple parts being played at the same time. Or you can even double up the melody with your right and your left after you hit the chord. Right? 4. I mean, technically, actually, we'll save that for another level. So on the 4, five. All right, so on the 5, maybe instead of playing the basic triad, we're making it a dominant chord. Da, 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 da. The dominant works because we're gonna resolve back to the 1. So we can make the 5 a dominant. And you know what, I'm gonna give you that 4 chord as well, just because I feel like it's a type of embellishment, so we might as well go over it. Or Yeah, so on the 4, what we can do is, we're still staying on that chord, but what we can do to embellish it is add this little melodic movement, which would just be, we're playing a basic 4, like a G flat major 7 chord. Then we're gonna alter the chord, playing a sharp 5. Then we're gonna resolve that to the 6. So it's like we're playing in the key, out of the key, resolving back into the key, but with more color. It's really cool. All right, to 5. Staying on the 5, but just using more full chord voicings. This is a dominant 9. A flat dominant 9, right? Or A flat 9. Just adding in a couple extra notes makes a big difference. My left hand also is playing the root in the 7th instead of just the octave, or instead of just the one bass note by itself. All right, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'll cherish. On the 5, what we can do is, you can keep it dominant, or maybe we just want to start as a major. So once again, we can arpeggiate our left hand, right? Work on stuff like that for embellishing. Or we can kind of do a run, like an arpeggiated run up the piano, which is really simple. I like to just create a shape in my right hand. So the shape, I'm playing the 5 chord, the A flat. So I'm gonna start on the 5 of the 5s. I'm starting on E flat. And I'm just playing 5, 1, 2, 5 of this A flat chord. 5, 1, 2, 5. 5, 1, 2, 5, and then just move it up in octaves. Practice slow, and then you'll eventually be able to build your speed. And you can go up the piano and you can go down the piano, okay? So I'll cherish, chorus, the old rugged. So going from just major to dominant. So, and then we're getting some movement. Dominant, suspended, dominant, 1. Getting ahead of myself again. We're gonna skip that for later. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross. And then yeah, so we're going from the 5 to the 1. You could do stuff like that, which is just taking an interval like of a 6, creating a melody line, da 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 da, and then I'm kind of harmonizing it with my interval, da, da, all 6. Da, da. You could do that. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross. Or we can just stay on the 1 and make it dominant because we're going to the 4. 4, 5, embellishing the 5. And then on the 5, just taking, once again, shapes. On this 5 chord, we're deciding to play a suspended chord, or a suspended voicing on the 5. So I got this shape, the 2, 4, and root of my 5 of A flat, 2, 4 root. And just moving that up, or I could even add the F in. So it's like a B flat minor 7 in my right. All right, so doing arpeggios up and down the piano works. So I'll cherish the rugged cross. Da, 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 da. 1, 5. I will cling to the old rugged cross. So on the 1, and even I'm embellishing the melody line by kind of harmonizing it. Da, da, da. So I'll cling to the old rugged cross. Instead of just playing the single note melody, you can play chords to follow the melody. And all that is 1, 2, 1, just the 1 and the 2 chord. 1, 2, 1, 1 dominant, 4, 1 over 5, 1 over 4, 1 over 5, 1 over 4, 1 over 5, 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 And we could do a similar movement, 1, 2, 1, just following the melody. Once again, taking a shape. This is technically, I'm thinking 4, G flat over D flat, right? G flat over D flat. So I can take this shape, because this gives me still like a type of D flat chord, or sorry, a type of G flat chord, and arpeggiate it up. And then arpeggiating the 1, or right? Stuff like that, which is just you can do that, which is just a shape. So 1, 2, 3, 5. When I start off, 1 root, 5th, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5. So a lot of embellishment stuff, at least that I like to do, is based off of shapes, either like chord shapes or patterns that are just repeated. Especially when it comes to doing the fast runs up and down the piano. A lot of that stuff is you just pick a shape and you just have to spend time building your technique, which means practicing it slowly. Over and over and over again. Stuff like that, I practice for hours and hours and hours, right? To be able to get it to a speed where it's clean and fast, and all the notes should be played kind of at the same volume, right? To get a clear sound. But that's level 3, where we're adding embellishments to our song, pretty much taking the chords that are given. We're playing the basic chords, we're playing the melody line, and we're embellishing the chords in the melody line, meaning we're just adding extra harmony, extra notes, extra color to the things that are there. All right, let's dive into level 4. All right, so level 4, we're going to be adding inversions to our approach now. So we got the basic chords, we got the melody, we're starting to embellish, and now with level 4, we're adding some inversions. So what is that gonna sound like? One. Instead of just staying on the 1, I can invert it, meaning I can change the root note, change my chord voicing. Ooh, I like that. 2, 1, 7, flat 7. That's just an inversion, right? And an embellishment, because I'm still just playing. Really what I'm playing is 1, major 7th, dominant 7. But instead of playing it on the 1, to add movement, we inverted the bass to move to the 3. And that gives it a completely different sound. But it's the same movement. Right? Four. All of those things that I just did were pretty much the basic chords that were given. I just used embellishments and inversions. So let's talk through that real quick before we move on. So, on the old rugged cross. On the 1, right? That's technically the 1. We went from like a major to major 7th to dominant 7th with the 3 in the bass. All right? To the 4. All right. Staying on the 4, but technically we're just inverting the bass to where if we're playing a G flat chord, we're playing the 3rd of our G flat chord in the bass, which is the 6 of D flat, right? So we're getting movement. And then we're supposed to be playing the 5, right? So we could play the 5, or I can invert it. Right, or 5 over 7. And this is technically the 5 chord. This is an A flat dominant chord. But just instead of playing the 5 in the bass, the rule of inversions tells me that if this is my chord, I can use any of these notes. We're playing a 5 chord, A flat dominant. I can use any of these notes for a bass note. All right, so, and that changes up the harmony instead of completely different sound, right? Let's skip to the chorus. So I cherish the old rugged cross. That's a nice move. And that's all that is using inversions, right? 5, I'm technically still playing a 5 chord, an A flat dominant, but I'm moving the bass line to the 4. Why? Because this is one of the notes of my A flat dominant chord. So I cherish the old rugged, this is an A flat dominant, A flat dominant chord, old rugged cross to the 1. And instead of just resolving to the 1, I'm gonna go 5, 4, 3, 1 over 3. I cherish the old rugged cross. Woo. And then there, 5, same thing. 5 is an A flat dominant chord, just over E flat. So I cherish the old rugged cross. All right, and then we can do. This is still the 1 chord, right? 4 over 6. 5. I can even do this. What is this? This is technically, I look at it as like a A flat dominant. What I'm doing is playing the flat 9, 3rd, sharp 11, 13, and the 9th. And then instead of playing the root in the bass, I'm playing the flat 7 to the 1. 1. Invert it to the 4. And there's, we're staying on the 4, but we can change the harmony a little bit. To the 1 over 5. 5 to the 1. All right, so that's just one way that we can use, or a couple different ways that we can use inversions to improve our playing, to get a more full and more advanced gospel sound. All right, let's jump into level 5. All right, so level 5 is where the fun really begins for me personally. Hopefully for you too. I mean, hopefully you're having fun the whole time, but level 5 is really where we start to get saucy. We start to get nice with it. All right, so level 5, we're starting to add passing chords. And this is where you have a lot of freedom to approach it how you want. But with passing chords, pretty much we're just adding extra chords now. We're stepping outside of the chords that we're given. We're adding extra chords to get us to and from our target chords, which are the chords that we already know, okay? So let's start from the top. First thing I think about. So that would be, we're playing on a hill far away. That's the melody. Normally we just stay on the 1. And we kind of play that out melody over the 1. But I like to move the chords with the melody. Why not? So I can play a passing chord. We can do this like 7, dominant. Really, any chord that has a G in it, technically, would work. Right, you can do that. On a hill far away. Ooh, on a hill far away. Or on a hill. Or. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we got the 1 on a hill, passing chord with this melody note in it. Doesn't matter what you want to do. You can play a 7 dominant. I can play a, I can play a 5 chord. That's different. Or, whatever you want. I like to play the 1 dominant to pass to the 4. And then I'm gonna do the same thing that we did on the 1 on the 4, which is follow the melody. Da, 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 da. So when we go out of the key, da, this note does not belong to D flat. So I'm gonna play a chord that matches with this. But we could do 4, we could do diminished, or we could do something like that. We could do 4 on a da, 3 dominant, wide. Does that work? This works as a passing chord because it has the melody line in it, the melody note. And I'm gonna go to the 2 because this passes me to the 5, which is my next chord, okay? 4, chord with the melody, passing chord to take me to the 5. Right? And then on the 5, you can play some type of altered chord voicing that's going to add some tension to your playing. Like when you're adding tension to your approach, it's just going to make like the changes sound more drastic. So to go from here to there sounds way different than, they both sound good. And they both sound like a resolution, but this one has more tension and it's like more of a journey to get from the 5 to the 1, right? It's way more of a journey. It tells more of a story. So you can add tension. And then let's keep going on with the passing chords. So 1. So you do 1, 5, major to dominant, to the back to the 1, pass to the 4, we'll do the same thing, 3 to the 2, 5, 2 passes to the 5, 5 dominant, and then the chorus starts on the 5, so this will be the last one I give you. The chorus starts on the 5, so I cherish the old rugged cross. So to get to the 5, what we can do is create a, actually, I'll just give 1 chord. We'll play the 2 chord because we're talking about passing chords, not passing movements just yet. So to get to the 5, I can play a secondary dominant, which is a dominant chord that's a 5th away from the chord I'm trying to go to. So this E flat dominant is gonna take us to the 5. So I'll cherish, you can play that to get to the 5, okay? And then we're gonna go into level 6 now, which is going to be, instead of just passing chords specifically, we're gonna add in passing movements as well. So not just one individual chord. I think it's easier to conceptualize like one passing chord and then to build on top of that and create whole passing movements, right? So I'm gonna give you like 2 or 3 of these movements and then we'll go on to level 7, the final level, okay? So, we'll start off where we left off with level 5, which is going into the chorus. We said we could do, the chorus starts on the 5, and we can play the 2 to pass it to the 5. So what I would do is just make it a whole progression, make it a 2, 5 progression to get to 5. So you could do that, 2, 5 to get to the 5, which is like the 6, and the 2, 5. Or we could extend it out and we could do like a 3, 6. Let's do. Yeah, let's do this, something like that. 3, 6, 2, 5. So going from the last section. That's a 3, 6, 2, 5. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross. All right. That's one passing movement that we can add. Let's go back to the verse and let's see where we can add some other passing movements instead of just one individual chord. I mean, technically that's a passing movement. We're going 7, 5 to the 1. Instead of just staying on the 1 the whole time, we're going all the way around. 7, drop by 5, whatever you want to do. Maybe we want to go to the 4. So instead of just playing the 1, we do 5, 1, 4. 2, 5. And then maybe even like in between phrases in the verse, we do something like this. We could do something like that, which would be 6, 2, 5, 5 sus to 5 dominant. That's a movement, right? We're adding chords and we're adding a melody line to kind of pull all the chords together. That's crazy. 6, which is a minor 11. 2, 5, 5 dominant. All right. So those are some passing movements that we can add. And pretty much you just want to, like at this point, we're at level 6. We're adding in a ton of stuff. We have tons of options. And I'm not saying to add all of these things at one time. I'm really actually overplaying. I would not even play all this in a actual musical setting. But I'm giving you options and you can kind of pick and choose musically what sounds good with you, what resonates with you, and make a song, make a hymn your own, okay? So for level 7, we are going to look at someone else playing that's killing, way better than me. We're gonna look at Jason White, and we're gonna look at his approach to this song, Old Rugged Cross. So check that out right now. All right, so y'all just saw the clip of Jason White playing. He's incredible. He's been on countless albums. I'm not even gonna list them all. Just look him up. He's incredible. We'll have his Instagram and the link to that original video in the description as well. But that's level 7, is when you really reach a virtuoso level approach. And at level 7, what you're doing is you're taking all of the concepts that we've talked about so far, and not only are you playing them, but you're like feeling them emotionally. I think when you get to a certain point musically, you don't have to think about what it is that you're playing. Like you just feel it and you listen to it. It's almost like kind of like an outer body experience. It's like, man, I'm playing this, but I'm not consciously thinking about it. It's gotten to a subconscious level or like so built into your muscle memory that you don't have to think about what you're playing at all. It's just flowing out. And that's where you want to get to. It's taking all of this stuff and practicing it for hours and hours and hours and getting it to a point where it just flows out of you. Just music and sauce and amazing gospel chords just flow. All right, so that's all I got for this lesson. Before we end the lesson though, I just want to remind you that we have a masterclass that's dropping on May 30th, all right? It's dropping on May 30th, 2024. It's getting ready to drop very soon. If you want more information, hit the link below, join the wait list, check out our information page for that. You're going to, in this masterclass, you're gonna learn 50 plus popular hymns. You're gonna learn the Old Rugged Cross and other like 50 something extra hymn songs. And as well as learning the songs, you're also going to learn some unique approaches. You're going to learn how to embellish these songs. You're going to learn how to add passing chords and movements and how to make the song your own, all right? So check it out, Nothing But Hymns Masterclass. It's coming your way very, very soon. Sign up for the wait list below to get more info, and I will see y'all in the very next lesson. Have a blessed day. Peace.